All right, guys, another episode of On the Daily Podcast. Who am I here with today?
Skylar from SkyCo Studios.
Give it the fuck up for Skylar from SkyCo Studios. Yeah! And my co-host today, you might know him, you might not. If you don't by now, I don't know what you've been up to. His
What's
name?
up, everyone? Flacco here.
All right, guys, so you want to tell people listening who you are?
So I was born and raised in Miami. I heard about these guys when I think I was in like 9th grade. Now I'm like, I should be graduated from college, but I'm 22 years old. And yeah, I've just like seen the whole like story from, traveling 45 minutes like from high school to your Hialeah store.
Damn, I didn't even know it was 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, it was rough. It was rough on the highway because I had this Jeep too that was like,
I remember the Jeep.
Would shake it when you go like over 45, 50 miles per hour.
The two-door thing.
But yeah, it's just been awesome seeing you guys like progress to like all this, and it's just so fun.
Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast too.
Of course.
And then a little
busy
bit more.
these days.
You born and raised in Miami. You went to Miami Beach High. You said you
Yeah.
mentioned, right? And that's when you first met us.
Yeah.
At the shop. You said 9th grade.
Yeah.
How exactly did you find out about the shop?
Okay, so the Hyper Adapts came out. The first self-lacing shoe.
Bricks, but
Right.
yes.
They weren't bricks when
They were
came
like
out.
$2,000 in the beginning or some
Yeah.
crazy shit.
The full box.
Yeah.
Right. They released them at the Nike store on Lincoln Road.
What was retail on them? Like $500? No, it was like something like that.
It was something
I think
700 or some shit. Because I
700.
remember I was like, I'm not touching those.
Yeah, because this is how it plays, right? So I just got out of like, I think it was some like AP studying thing on the
Freshman
weekend.
year.
Yes.
So you're
It was
14, 15-year-olds thinking about a $750 shoe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fire.
So they come out. I didn't get them. I think it was like when the Lincoln store just opened, and they gave them out on the the website. So I just did like some AP studying on the weekend. We just had to go as extra credit, and I see someone with the box, like with the bag.
the big ass Hyper
Because it
that
was like
box.
the charging pad, the big ass shoes. They had like the promotional box.
The cables in
Yeah.
there.
And Miami Beach High is what, like a 5-minute drive from
Yeah,
the Nike?
I was
Lincoln
getting
Road?
bodega. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You were bodega for lunch in high school?
No, it was on the weekend,
Oh,
so it was
fuck.
just like
Okay,
some
okay.
shit that for extra credit that I had to go to. And I see some guy with the bag, and I go up to him. Just got into that reseller mindset, just like approaching random ass people on the street and being like, "How much you want for those?" And this guy was like, "Oh, I want like 1,100." I was like, "No, like they're kind of bricks." Like if he was like, "Oh, I wanted an extra like 100, 150," it makes sense. I took his phone number down, and then I was like, "Listen, if you change your mind or you want cheaper, just let me know." They ended up going down in price, right? And he ends up texting me. He says, "Hey, I'll get rid of these for like 900." And I was like, so I just heard about StockX. I go in there, the payout's like 1,000. So I was like, it's not really worth it, the 100. Like, I guess it was, but it was like, I don't know. For some reason, I said no.
First time doing StockX, no knowledge of it. You're like,
Yeah.
damn, I'm going to spend $900 to ship these shoes, and I don't know if they're going to get authenticated properly, or I don't know if the package is going to go missing and for $100. But
Yeah, because it's like you're investing like $900
Yeah, of
to
course.
make 100.
at the age of 15, 16 years old. So.
Yeah, even I think it might have been like younger, and then I was like, "Will you do 800?" He was like, "All right, fuck it, just come here and pick them up." So he's like, "I work at this store daily."
That's
So it ends up being Krieger.
Yeah,
and I remember when
exactly.
he bought that shoe, I'm like, bruh, that shoe's trash. And then you ended up reselling the shoe after.
I
the
resold
fact.
it
That's how
the
you
next
met
day.
Josh?
Yeah.
because of the fucking.
I still have him in my contact as Hyper Adapt.
Fucking Krieger. He's always flipping some type of shit.
So
And
I came
that, back
to the,
then, that was like whatever year that was that shoe came out.
Yeah.
StockX wasn't like
That was
something that you
nobody
wanted
knew
to
about
fuck
StockX.
around with.
15 maybe 2015, 2016. I would say.
Yeah, and nobody knew about StockX. I mean, like, I thought you guys would, but like, I went there. I literally sold it like on the drive back. I think I made like $200.
Josh sucks.
Yeah.
He sucks.
It's kind of like payback.
And when
for
he
like
bought
all the
it,
low balls, like,
he
he's
posted
giving
it in
me.
the store. We're like, bro, this shit's trash. It's like the box is huge. The
Yeah.
sneakers like on 2 complete different
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
The chargers there.
Yeah, I remember it being like a size 9, and I was like I used to buy shoes in my size, and I'm a size 12 for some reason. I'm like 5'9" and size 12 feet, but oh man, they were cool. I wanted them, but
So
thankfully they were size 9.
so that's how you first found out about the shop.
And
you
then
don't
I-
meet up this person to buy these shoes, and you're like, what the fuck is this in Hialeah
I think I met.
sneaker store?
I think I took my mom because I was like scared. I was like, I don't really go to Hialeah.
Do you remember us working there at the time? Or it was just Josh. Like, were
I
we
just
there
remember
present?
Josh.
You just remember Josh?
Because he was like the only like form of communication, and I'm also like in 9th, 10th grade, so I'm like scared. You know, like meeting up. That was the first person. I
Random
probably met
white
up with.
guy on fucking OfferUp or wherever he posted the shoe. So was that the first shoe that introduced you to reselling?
No, the first shoe that I ever got was I didn't know anything about shoes. In middle school, kids used to talk about them, and I used to be like left out of the conversation. I didn't know the difference between like any of the Jordans, nothing. And then the Yeezy confirmed, the Adidas confirmed that, right? So people kept talking about it. I think it was the Belugas that came out, and I saw like my friend try to go for it,
When
and
it
I was
first
like,
came out in like New York, that's what you're talking
No,
about.
no,
The first Beluga release.
no, in Miami.
Okay.
So like.
And I'm thinking about Turtle Doves.
Oh, yeah. So people had the Adidas Confirmed app, and they're like, yeah, you just press it at this time, and then you get it. I was like, that seems really easy, and you're making like $400 or $500? They're like, yeah. So what I did was like, I think for some reason, I had a burner phone, and then I had my phone, and then I had an iPad, and then I used my mom's phone. And then the Black Friday pairs came out. So the 3 pairs on Adidas Confirmed, I was just like,
It was the Oreo, the Solar Red,
yeah.
and the olive green or some shit like that.
yeah,
The core, the olive,
yeah.
And then the red.
red, green, and orange.
yeah. And they were hitting for like
Yeah.
$700, $800.
And I hit 2 pairs off the Adidas Confirmed app.
And retail was like 200 or some shit.
Yeah. And then I had that money off literally like walking dogs and stuff like that. So I went and bought the shoes, and then like the next day, see, I didn't even know about StockX, nothing. I met up with a guy on eBay, something like that. And then I sold him for 1 pair for $600, and I kept the other pair.
So this is before the Adapts.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably your first.
That was the
encounter
first.
Of,
Yeah.
oh shit, I could make money off of this
Yeah.
and do this kind of as a side hustle. Okay.
And then the only thing I knew about was Yeezy. I still didn't know like difference between Jordan 1s or 3s and 4s. No clue. You remember when the Yeezy Zebras came out? There was only 4,000 pairs or 3,000 pairs in the US. I didn't like have enough money to buy it because it was like, I don't know why, because I must have spent like the 600 on some stupid shit or didn't have like exactly enough. And I told my dad, and I was like, listen, if I get these, like, I was like delusional thinking I could get them, right? Off Yeezy Supply. And I was like, Dad, if I can get these, I'll sell them. They're going for like $2,000.
Yeah, they were going for a crazy amount.
My dad was like, don't buy stuff you can't afford. And I was like, come on, like, I'm going to make so much money. But I was like stupid for thinking that I would even get it. So I went to my mom, and my mom was like, all right, fine. She gave me her card.
Shout out, Mom.
And I'm on the website. You remember when they used to drop like randomly?
Yeah, on the Yeezy Supply.
The second I hit refresh, they're up. I like did it. Like, it was crazy. The second I hit refresh, they're up. And I check out on a pair of size 10. I get them, and I sell them for like $1,800.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Imagine what those people are feeling right now. That shoe's like $300 or $350.
And they were selling for $2,000 when they came out.
And they
too.
all look alike. The 2015, 2017, whatever year. I think it's 2017 and then 2020.
And even crazier, the guy that I sold it to was also like from eBay. I went with my mom to Dolphin Mall to meet up with him. He took out a student loan to pay for the shoes.
My God.
He gave me
Yo, guys, if you're out there contemplating if you want to take out a student loan to buy any sneaker, I would advise against that.
Yeah, don't.
It's crazy.
Don't. Even if you have a buyer lined up, don't.
And I remember when they first started taking like Affirm and shit for sneakers, I'm like, wow, people are really going to go into debt, charging up all these type of shoes that they're not going to really pay for.
He gave me an envelope, and it had the receipt inside that said like student loan offices of FIU, and like and the amount. It had his name, everything. I was like, damn.
So at this point, you already got your little reselling going on,
Yeah.
and I know pretty much early on we obviously mentioned SkyCo, your brand. When do you feel like that really became a thing? How old were you? Because this is before you obviously moved to New York.
Yeah. Well, it was the first idea of it. I had slides, right? And I just was so obsessed with George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Okay. Fire line.
And I took this screenshot and I just did like a shitty, like, you know, just like took a really shitty screenshot of it and then put like SkyCo over it in like a random ass font. And then I put it on slides. Like I knew how to manufacture stuff through Alibaba because like I did it, I think like in middle school or like 8th grade where I did like private labeled wireless headphones.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
he's been doing this
you
yesterday
were like
when he was talking
reseller
about it.
Before you even got into like reselling
I would call
shoes.
I would call up gyms and stuff, and like my voice would still be like, you know, like pretty high. It was embarrassing.
High pitched.
Yeah, but yeah, I just did the slides, and then I put SkyCo because the wireless headphone brand was named Sky Sound, so I wanted to keep that Sky.
Yeah,
I thought it
your
was
name's
so catchy.
Skylar, and
Your
yeah,
name
it's
is
catchy.
Skylar
Yeah.
as well, so it makes
So
sense.
for the brand, I was like, have it just be like Skylar Company. So like whatever I do with it is just gonna be things that were influential or like stuff that I genuinely liked. You know, the brand that you're getting is me. So I made the slides. They didn't do necessarily that bad, but they didn't do like I definitely like made like cut even on it. But yeah, that was like the beginning of it, and then I kept coming to the store. You guys like would like I would just show you guys, and like you guys were supportive. It was funny.
Yeah, I remember you gave me a pair. I rocked the fuck out of them things.
When you guys opened this store, I brought you guys a pair. It's like
And you would always come. You would consign and shit at one point.
Yeah.
And then we would see you regularly, and you'd come through in the Jeep.
Yeah.
And then you ended up moving to New York.
Yeah.
And that's when I feel like SkyCo hit like a different level.
Yeah, because so I was in my dorm, and I had like the worst dorm. I had a like annoying ass
Wait,
roommate.
before you even talk about your dorm,
Yeah.
so the reason why you moved to New York is to go to school in New York, right? And it was for fashion.
Well, no, I started off going to Baruch, which was like a business school.
Okay.
I just wanted to be in New York because all my family's there. Nice. So, you know, like my grandparents, uncles, cousins, my mom and dad were born there. So I just wanted to be there because also my brother lives there and then my sister lives there. So I just wanted to be there. And Baruch is kind of like it's a CUNY. So a lot of people that go there are from New York. And I went there, I dormed. And
try to get the full college experience outside of Miami, outside of your shell.
Don't if you go to a New York school, like, or I guess Baruch, don't dorm. That was terrible. It was traumatizing. They overcharge you. You're in a room that's like probably the size of like your fitting room, and you share it with somebody else. Terrible. You don't have a kitchen. You don't have nothing.
You pick your roommate or just random?
I picked my roommate because I told him about Baruch, and he just wanted to go to New York as well. And he's fucking crazy, like terrible. That was like, you know, like sleeping. I caught him sleeping in my bed once, stealing food, like not buying. Like, you know, he one time flooded the dorm because he kept throwing like wet wipes down the toilet and flushing them and ear picks.
Yeah.
And I told him not to, and then he floods it, and then calls me up as I'm in class, being like, "Bro, there's a leak in the apartment. There's like it's everywhere." And I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "You gotta call the thing." Like. And he made it sound like it was a random thing.
Yeah, I'd be pretty traumatized too.
You know how the toilet's connected to the shower?
I've never the only dorms I've stayed in had
like in general, like the
community
plumbing.
bathrooms and shit.
Yeah. So if the toilet clogs, your shower isn't gonna drain. So he turned the shower on because he's an idiot, and then went like probably on his phone for a half an hour, and then came back, take a shower, and he realized that it wasn't draining.
Overflowing.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then he blamed it as there was a leak in the thing, and I came back and like there's no we don't even know where the water's coming from. He just left because he had to go to class. I don't know. That was the shit that I.
And what were you going to school at that time for?
I was going entrepreneurship. I didn't even know what that meant.
But that was more your undergrad, right? You're just doing your undergrad there.
Yeah.
Just from following you personally, I know you went to Parsons, so I want to know how that transition from Miami to New York, going to that school that you mentioned, and then going to one of the most famous fashion schools in the States.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, it all started like in that Baruch dorm. I was in that dorm and they had this room called the Tulu room where you can like rent like random stuff like an air fryer or a broom. And basically they give you credit. And one day, like right before like the semester ended, I just really wanted to learn how to sew. So I just rented a sewing machine. And I went to the CVS across the street and bought like a needle and thread that wasn't supposed to really go in that machine.
And random fabric, and you just started fucking sewing up a storm?
Literally.
Fire.
And I just taught myself how to sew, and I just like fell in love with it, really.
And then transitioned, and then from there, you know, I guess dipping your feet within fashion and sewing and learning that aspect. Parsons, that's like, you went from 0 to 100.
Yeah, it was like, I thought for sure I wasn't gonna get in, but I had some people help me with my portfolio and stuff, and yeah, I got in. I was just
because don't you have to show any type of like I guess X projects that you've done or anything fashion oriented, or it's not just education, it's not just academic?
Yeah, and I showed them like my Instagram, basically, like everything I did on there, and then
this guy's popping. We need him.
Well, you showed them the
screenshot
SkyCo
it.
Instagram?
No, I didn't like screenshot like my
Yo,
followers.
look at these slides. George Bush does not fuck with black people.
They probably would have liked that since it's like a liberal like school.
Fire.
A stance on something. But yeah, I just put together a portfolio, and I had like somebody that I knew that was going to CSM, which is like probably the biggest fashion school.
Bigger than Parsons?
Yeah,
Word,
it's in London. So, and she helped me put together my portfolio, and yeah,
then you ended up getting in because of her, whatever she did to help you.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's dope.
I owe a lot of it to her, yeah.
So at this point, shout out to her, by the way.
Yeah.
So at this point, you're in Parsons. I assume you're making clothes on a regular basis. What was one of the first items that kind of gained a lot of traction or attention when it comes to social media and the reposting and stuff like that?
So, like, really my first piece that I did was I just had this old tapestry blanket, and I just laid it out, you know, put some sweatpants that I liked, cut it, and then shittily sewed it. And I sold it on Grailed.
Just as a single item?
Yeah. Okay. I wore it a bunch, and then I got fat during the pandemic, and then it didn't fit, so I sold it on Grailed. And someone bought it like the day after for like $120.
Yeah, were you like deconstructing certain clothing items that you had to get its patterns? And just laying it on the blanket and then going at it.
I watched
certain things that you liked how it fit you or whatnot.
Yeah, exactly. And then it was so terribly sewn, but yeah, it just somebody bought it and I was like, what the fuck?
And then you're like, oh shit, I can make a business off this.
Yeah.
And then you start. I would say that was when you started pumping SkyCo even more, right?
Yeah.
It was all with that tapestry, like
all during the pandemic. You know, I just had so much time, and like, I literally just made it work. And then once I sold that first one, I bought like 3 vintage blankets.
So Parsons, if anything, Parsons wasn't even a reason of SkyCo or a reason why you really started doing it.
If anything, it made.
More, it was that rent-a-center in your fucking dorm and the sewing machine that really
shout out to the Tulu room,
Tulu room.
So fuck Parsons, shout out Tulu room. That's fire.
Shout out Tulu room.
And then okay, so you're making a bunch of pieces and you're selling them on Grailed at this point, no?
Once I sold the first one on Grailed, I was like, let me just make a website.
Nice.
And then I was like, let me just like revamp SkyCo, because that's where like the slides, because it was SkyCo slides. So now I'm just like, now it's going to be SkyCo Studios.
Were you able to sell it to like your peers at Parsons, or were you showing your
No.
At Parsons?
By the time I was at Parsons, I had like over 10,000 followers. Oh, so I was already selling stuff. So it wasn't really like, Parsons had nothing to do with it. Parsons, I just kind of went there to get like an actual education and like further my knowledge, because I was just sewing on a shitty, Singer.
Do you feel like you gained anything from Parsons, or
of course,
not just education, but connections you made, whether it be the people, the students, or teachers themselves that have helped you propel your career?
One thing I can tell you about art schools compared to regular like colleges, the bond with your teachers are like an actual friendship. You're not like, you never. I don't know. I was at Baruch and it's just felt like, okay, you're my teacher. I just do what you say. you treat me like a
Also,
kid.
I'm assuming this is like huge auditorium style teaching, or is it like small classrooms?
It's both.
Okay.
Um, but at Parsons, it's like you have teachers that are cool and want to see you succeed and are fun and have lives outside of things that it's interesting. I don't know.
So it's like a more calm environment, more laid back in a sense.
Like I still talk to a lot of my teachers. Like I follow them on Instagram. Yeah.
And you also mentioned that you haven't even technically finished school at Parsons, right? You went there for what, a year and a half?
Yeah, I think maybe 2 years.
You mentioned you took a year off that turned into almost 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is where we are right now, present day.
I got a little too busy with like stuff. So that was one of the main factors is school was taking away from what I was doing outside of school. And I wasn't presenting and making stuff to the quality that I wanted to because I also still had to like make a living. And I didn't want to like completely destroy the momentum because it's kind of counterintuitive to why I'm going to Parsons. So I was like, okay, I need to take a break. And then the break kind of like put everything together. It took me a step back and was like kind of, I was able to like plan it out more and have more time to do like what I actually wanted to do.
And what timeline is this where you took that break?
So it's like a year and a half ago, I think.
Okay, so
Post
2022
COVID,
then.
post COVID is when you were making all the garments, right?
Pretty much.
And you notice like, yo, I don't even really need Parsons that much. Like, I understand like it does help, but I'm networking, making all these pieces. You're living in New York, so I'm assuming you're probably going out.
Yeah.
Maybe partying a little bit, too much,
yeah.
right? That's New York lifestyle. Probably not sleeping, just going to Parsons or just going back to making more garments while partying and trying to balance that lifestyle. How was that for you?
It was fun, and it was also physically and mentally draining. And I think, I mean, it's just so fun to look at it like, to like go out and come back late. But then you realize I have school, I have projects, and I have to make money, and I have to maintain SkyCo, and then come up with like more fun stuff to do. It was too much. It was way too much. And then, like, I don't know. Going out in New York's fun, but it kind of like all that stuff got old really quickly. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting time.
Did you and I know you've also mentioned that part of your networking, either whether going out or just straight up DMing people. Like the piece that you have right now, you collab with someone that's pretty famous, right? You told me,
Angel Chen. Yeah. So Angel Chen is this big designer in Shanghai, and one day she just followed me, and I was like, just went on her page. I was like, that's crazy. Like, stuff she makes is beautiful. She's had collabs with like H&M, Canada Goose, Adidas, and I just DM'd her, was like, hey, like, what's up? I was just like, I'd love to send you some stuff.
And that's because she followed you.
Yeah.
The power of social media.
Yeah, you got to shoot your shot more on the DMs, man.
You really have to, because like that's how I've made a lot of connections. Like, one that a lot of people don't know is like, SGA bought something off me. Shea Gilgis,
The basketball player?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Shout out Shy, probably
and
the
he's
best
super
dressed
like
hooper.
fashion forward, I would say.
And I didn't even know who that really was.
Actually,
which
I
is
do
the fucked
remember
up
he. I feel like he had multiple pieces of yours. I remember
No,
him wearing
that was
the
somebody
tapestry,
else.
like or
The thing
same
is, this
style.
a
Yeah,
lot
same
of
style.
different people make the tapestry.
Yeah, they saw that shit popping off and like
Yeah.
So at what point? I know you were getting into the Shy. You have a story there.
No, just one thing.
His
like
stylist bought it, or you bought it, or he reached
he
out?
bought it,
Fire.
and it was crazy because like I didn't really know too much who he was, but yeah, a lot of people will bring their stylist or just straight up ask you for free shit, which is super annoying. But yeah, he just straight up just was like, hey, you got this in an XL? I was like, no, but I'll make you one. He's like, okay. And he just bought it too. He
And
just sent
bought
me
it and
money, yeah.
supported. That's fire.
Which, for the record, we're tripping. His name's Shay.
Shay.
Yeah, Shay, not
Shay.
Shy. I'm tripping.
Yeah.
So at what point did you link up with Kid Super to do those chairs?
So that's a funny story because he lives in Brooklyn, or his old studio was in Brooklyn, and I lived in Brooklyn too. And like a couple stops, maybe like 3-4 stops away from him. And I've been looking at his stuff like for a long time. Not too long. I think I maybe saw him like 3-4 months before I hit him up. And he posted something about having natural engagement. like him not spending any money on ads. And I was like, you should try TikTok. I literally just swiped up on it. I was like, you should try TikTok. It works for me. Like, I'll help you if you want. He was like, all right, just come by. I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, just come by.
And this was about a year ago, you said?
Yeah, maybe 2. But he was just like, come by, and I just met up with him. He was just there by himself. Just, you know, he was really a one-man show. Like, it was really incredible. Like, coming to his studio, if you called his customer support thing, it was him picking up.
His cell phone? Yo, what's up? It's super.
He was shipping stuff. He was taking phone calls in front of me. And, yeah, so I just tried to help him with TikTok, and we got one TikTok. His TikTok had, like, 200 followers on it, like, and, like, a huge disparity through Instagram. And I had got him one video that was, like, 30,000, but he wasn't really, like, into TikTok too much, so it didn't work too well.
It's weird. TikTok, I don't know.
Which I wonder why, because I feel like he does have, you know, that a crazy, not crazy, but more of a wacky approach to when it comes to fashion.
Yeah.
And I feel like TikTok would benefit him. And the more viral and the more crazier the graphic or pattern or whatever the case is would do well for him.
He knows what he wants, and sometimes he just knows I feel like you have to do certain things. This was just something like he didn't really want to mess with.
Man's had his own LV show. I'm sure he's doing what he
through that.
Right.
He followed me and he saw like the chairs that I made, and he was like, "These are cool." He literally just swiped up on the story and said like, "Oh, these are cool," and I was just like, "Let's do one." I was like, "Send me this graphic," and he just sent it right away. And then a week later, I had it, and he posted about it, and then he used it in the Paris Fashion Week show that I posted, his like online one.
Damn, how is it seeing that?
I didn't even know. He didn't even tell me he used them, and somebody DM'd me. They were like, "Oh, by the way, the chairs look so cool in his show." I was like, "Really?" I watched the whole thing. I didn't even see it. So basically, his concept was like, he asked a bunch of people in New York, "What do you want to do before you die?" And 2 people said, "Oh, I want to fall in love." So he set them up on a blind date on like a New York City rooftop, and he used the chairs
so that they sat on your chairs. That's pretty fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually really dope. And you at this point you have professional basketball players reaching out to you.
Yeah.
You know, essentially doing collabs with Kid Super.
Yeah.
What other things have you done that is, from your perspective, you might feel like it's something huge?
One thing that was huge, like in my head, I have 2 things actually. When I first started and I had maybe like under 5,000 followers, Chip the Ripper used to look at my story.
Okay.
That's
I was like, I love Chip the Ripper. And like, I just geeked out so hard. I never DM. I was like too scared to DM him. I was like he was like, he didn't follow me, nothing. He was like voting on my polls, like
purposely searching your name to go to your
I have
page.
screenshots of this, like actually, and he would like vote on like yes or no polls and stuff like that, and just like watch my story all the time. I have no clue how. He never hit me up. He just like, I guess, liked looking at my stories, and that was like one moment that I was like, no way, this is real.
And then
and the other one was DJ Mustard. He wore the shoes. He bought them too, which was really cool, and he wore them courtside at a Lakers game, and he spilled like his drink, so they got it on the TV. Like, and apparently
that's just so
the purple and green ones, right? The purple and green ones.
The SkyCo Army trainers.
Someone spilled their drink on him, and
No, he spilled his.
Oh, and then the TV like panned over to it and caught it.
Apparently, Skrill and Josh both saw it and were like, "Are those SkyCos?"
The SkyCos.
They hit me up like after, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, seeing the athletes out in the wild, like during the games, especially, or celebs that are there courtside, wearing your product must be a crazy feeling,
man.
for
It's
sure.
a different feeling,
Especially like for the first time.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like, this is a funny story too. When I was like also like maybe under 10,000 followers, Coyle Ray hit me up.
Okay,
and she wasn't that big at the moment, and she hit me up for something like an album cover, right? Like she wanted.
For you to creative direct, like
No. She wanted pieces for her album cover, and she's like, "I need them in like 2 days." And I sent her stuff. I didn't really have like too much inventory, so she passed. And I was like, "I can make a custom piece or something." She was like, "All right." She's like, "I want koi fish on them." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's a cool idea." I made it. I was just like, "Whatever. I'll just send it to you for free." Never heard anything after. And then later, I saw I would send her more stuff, and then she would just like whatever.
All for free.
Yeah.
Without you're too
And
nice.
it didn't. Yeah, it did. I mean, I liked her music, so it was cool. It was whatever. And then I saw somebody post in her sweater, and I thought, oh, are you Coil Ray stylist? Like somebody posted it on their main feed on Instagram. She goes, no, I bought it off her Depop. I was like, no,
God, no way.
I was like, fuck.
That's the worst. He resold
Yeah.
this guy.
Oh,
Piece,
she
the
resold it for
101.
free.
Hey, she
Gifted
sold it
item.
for more than like what
you would've
retail.
sold.
I was like, damn, she really just resold one of my pieces. Yeah. And it's funny. So you know how she just had that boyfriend, Pressa? No.
Nah, I don't really keep
No,
up
before
with
I
Koi.
know she was just going out with Trippy. That's about it.
So she had a boyfriend, Pressa, who was like, and I saw this like last week or 2 weeks ago. I guess they broke up. They had a messy breakup. He's a rapper. He's like a pretty big rapper. And I see it on my TikTok, like Pressa disses Coil Ray, and he's like, oh, I would never date her or anything. And I see this, like, it's like a photo on a TikTok. I'm like, are those my shorts?
And
They
then
look
he
like
was
my
wearing-
shorts.
that
He was wearing the shorts because they must have not fit Coil Ray, and he gave them to her. And in this story, he's dissing her, being like, oh, I can't even believe I liked her or whatever.
It's funny how the world works when
It-
shit like that happens.
And I didn't even know. And then I went to his Instagram. He's playing golf in the shorts too. He like fully posted. No one tagged me.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's some publicity for you.
But it's pretty funny like how that works.
And then talking about publicity, I know you were also featured in a film, correct?
No, he made
Oh,
a
you made a
film.
film.
You
Oh,
made
wow.
a short
My
film
bad.
for
So-
that
collection,
collaboration
yeah.
with Angel
Which-
Chen.
So it comes back to Parsons. Like I had a class called Time where she showed us how time is portrayed in film and photos, and I fell in love with film. And she was genuinely one of like my most like influential teachers, and I just fell in love with film. And I knew with this collection I wanted to make like a multi-series short film. And in the class she showed us the Andy Warhol screen test. Do you know what the Andy Warhol screen test is?
No.
So
Enlighten me.
basically, he just like at his factory, he used to bring like really, really famous people like Lou Reed, Salvador Dali, and he just like sit them down, be like, don't do it, like just be yourself and just hit record. And they would just like pose, and at some point, it's like a minute 30 long, and it's just them just sitting there. And you know, you watch and your first watch, you don't find no meaning. And I didn't either, but the teacher replayed it and explained to us that what he wanted to do was put these celebrities in an awkward position. So he believed that social awkwardness brought out this true emotion in celebrities.
Humanizing them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So they would sit there, and at some point they have no direction. So you would see this wave of social awkwardness, you know,
Like facial
crowd them.
expressions,
Yeah.
your eyes not showing where to lock. If you're looking at the
Exactly.
camera,
And
looking down.
That made me like really truly like appreciate art, and like not in like a, you know, pretentious way or anything. She explained it in the most like appreciative way ever, and it really helped me like be so influenced. And in the short film, it's a multi-series short film, so there's 4 different things, and one of them is I did a screen test with the models. So we had the models come for the fitting, and right after each one, we told them, just sit down. Like, they had the full outfit on and everything.
And they didn't know the cameras were rolling.
Nothing.
They're just sitting there. They're like,
Yeah.
what the fuck am I supposed to do?
And it came out great. You see that, like, how they are. Because it's hard to be, you know, when someone puts a camera on you, it's hard to, like, be yourself. Obviously, you're going to have this layer of, like, putting something on for a camera.
Thinking about where you're gonna save, making sure you're not.
Yeah,
you
he
don't
showed
have any
me some of the
errors.
clips yesterday, and like
Yeah.
they feel uncomfortable.
The
like-
you had bloopers or just like actual clips that you made it purposely. You made it
Yeah.
like that on purpose.
yeah, and
to
then he
recreate
shows you
the
like
screen
all
test.
6 of them at the same time, like a grid format.
Yeah.
And you see, like, it kind of reminds me of the intro to the Brady Bunch,
Yeah.
where everyone's doing their own thing,
'Cause
but
his-
they're all like
yeah.
kind of annoyed and like wondering, what the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah. But it's, you know, his was in black and white, and I'm very colorful, so I wanted to do, like, my own version of it with color and just being bright.
That's dope too, because then you have the fans that follow the artist originally, and they're like, oh shit, he's recreating, you know, the social experiment.
Yeah.
From your own film, right? You directed it film, and then you presented that where it's a school.
Well, it's not done yet.
It's not the it's in the works.
Yeah, so it's gonna be with the rollout of this collection. It's like a 29-piece collection. It's the biggest I've ever done
With Angel. With
Angel, yeah. And we have it in a lot of stores in China, and I just recently had a meeting with Saks Fifth Avenue to try to get it into their store, into stores.
Dude, that's huge.
Yeah, bro. Congrats on that, man.
That is definitely
I was shaking during
a
it.
big milestone,
It was so
I would
bad.
say.
As long as you got through it, fuck it. If you were shaking, nervous, who cares? So sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We're like, damn, even like doing these podcasts in the beginning, I would be like nervous and shit. And then at the end, everyone's saying, yo, it was good. It was fire. I liked it, whatever. And then it's like inside my head, I'm like, fuck, this is like,
So what's another major thing that you have coming up, or you have actually been in the past?
So I just finished the short film, and the short film was very like, was like experimental. This is my first time doing anything like that, and I did crazy shit that like, realistically maybe I shouldn't have even like done. It was too like wild. Like, I had street performers on the subway car, and we filmed on a subway car that's actually going. It was a mess, and then we did like one where it was at my grandpa's house. It was like about cooking, and then we did a recreation of like this crazy ass story of like him like threatening to kill somebody. It was like, it's like the Italian side, right?
Okay, yeah.
So
because he's Italian.
Coming
The
up,
Soprano side.
yeah. So coming up, I want to do this new collection about one of my inspirations, like fashion-wise, Nicky Lauda, who's a race car driver that he burnt like his face off in a race car accident. And he's just such like a fly guy. You look at all of his photos, like he's such an inspiration. So I want to do like a collection kind of like based off that. And I want to do a short film that's like a horror fashion film. And I haven't seen anybody do that yet. So hopefully no one does it if I announce it here. But I'm trying to do like
It'll be time-stamped, at least you'll know.
I'm trying to do a fashion horror film with something to do with like race car driving. I'm working on it right now, and hopefully it comes out good. But I learned
the backstory
a lot
on that sounds
one.
pretty dope. I'm already intrigued.
Yeah.
So also, we didn't cover it, but really quickly before we end the episode, you made it onto one of the biggest fashion magazines, I guess.
Yeah.
How was it to be featured on Vogue and seeing your pieces on the models
That was
on
like,
the actual magazine?
That was like another thing that I was like, nobody told me. Somebody sent it to me.
Oh wow,
Vogue
that makes.
out? I thought this is something that Vogue has to reach out.
So it was like through like Angel Chen.
Oh, okay.
So, and it was like, so she has like a main line. So our collab made up like 4 pieces. Like 4 photos on there. And yeah, somebody sent it to me. Somebody looked up like Angel Chen, and then my name's in there. So it came up, I guess, when they looked up my name. And
at least your name is involved. That's good.
Yeah, it's
you
dope
didn't
as
know,
fuck,
but
man.
hey,
Just having the piece in that magazine alone is dope as fuck.
And somebody sent it to me. And I was like, what the fuck?
You are
and it's a
Vogue
surprise.
published.
Like I'm pretty sure that's a beautiful surprise, a nice surprise.
Beautiful surprise.
Your work and your name have been published by Vogue. I think that is
It's a blessing. It really is.
Definitely.
And to think that it's like, to think that like we're here and it all started from like meeting you guys and like Hialeah and just being a sneaker reseller to like that point. It's so like crazy to reflect on it and like to look at the store and to see how much you guys have grown.
All the guests so far, they pretty much feel the same way. And like at the other token, I'm there like, man, I think it's dope as fuck that all these people we've encountered end up doing these like
these people
cool things, these dope things that we would have never thought, from you making the slides or the tapestry hoodies and the pants. We did a giveaway with Daily, and we did a tapestry giveaway. We'll show that. We did the shoe drive, and then it's like, yo, this kid's onto something different. And when the tapestry items started popping off, I'd keep contact with you. You'd keep contact with us at the store, and then whenever you'd pop out, you'd be telling us like a crazy story, and we're like, damn, bro, keep going at it. This is amazing.
It really
and then
has.
now it's like you're saying, we're sitting here, we're doing the podcast, and you're reflecting on a bunch of the things that you've accomplished.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so dope that Daily is anywhere a part of that story.
You guys were like really big influences. Like, I would literally drive 30, 45 minutes just to like come to you guys to sell stuff. And then most of the time it could have been like a 5-minute transaction, but most of the time I was just like hanging around. You guys were talking to me about like how to like do certain things, like how to resell, like what works, what doesn't work.
Also, we didn't cover it, not to cut you off, but you interned for us.
Oh yeah,
for like a full day. You interned for us.
No, it was more. I think it was 2 days.
2 days of solid
for
work.
school.
This kid came in. He needed an internship program for his school to
you
be
were
done.
there.
Yeah,
And I type up the emails.
on your papers saying like,
Said, hey, he came. He was
did his
great.
hours.
Give him an A.
He did his hours.
And you were like, I remember I was like, I came behind the counter. You're like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm actually like working here. You're like, oh, okay. You're like,
That's like that's back in the rogue days where like we would just, oh, fuck it, we're doing this, and then like half the building wouldn't even know, half of the other employees would be lost.
I
And
just
we're like, hey,
fucked
look,
with you.
he's
I was
here
like, all
today.
right, fuck it, let's go, Skylar.
you're like, all right, take those things and like reorganize it on the shelf. You put me right to work.
Anyways, Skylar, to wrap this up, other than the film that you want to do with the NASCAR driver, was it?
Yeah.
Any other future insights for SkyCo?
Just the horror fashion film. And then the Angel Chen collection.
That's coming out
The
soon.
pictures, I used the photographer Ruga, who is an amazing photographer. I used a bunch of like really cool people to help make the film. I co-directed it, and yeah, it's fun. There's one photo shoot where we did it at the Astoria Park. I'll like make it quick, but we did it at Astoria Park, and while we were there, I had the stylist stay by the clothes, make sure like no one touches it, and like the stylist ended up meeting these like really like 3 old salsa dancers, and they were like obsessed with the clothes, and I literally was like, "You want to model it?" And it came out, I think, one of like the best photo shoots like.
Yeah.
Did they dance with the clothes on and
They just
model, or
modeled it, and they were so like energetic. And then there was like this one like really crazy lady who she just like her energy was perfect. And yeah,
Show me the photos yesterday,
Yeah.
and it looked like they all wanted to be there.
Yeah.
You would have never thought that he just, hey, you want to do this photo shoot for
on
me?
the spot?
yeah,
That's
it
fine.
came out great.
Hey, Skylar, I appreciate you coming on the show, bro. It's been a pleasure.
Skylar, appreciate you
being
as a
here.
friend, as a consigner, as
A jack of all trades.
yeah.
And I still want
That's
a piece.
everything.
I still want a tapestry piece, bro.
You got it.
Gotta get to work on that. I just don't know what I want. I be overthinking it. I don't want to get some basic shit like the college dropout album or something.
See, I don't do that. I'm not doing none of that stuff no more.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
for
it
you,
might
maybe,
come
maybe.
after you.
But
Nah, I need
anyways.
something like a daily piece. I wanted to track down the one we gave away. But hey, another
stickers.
episode of On the Daily
Appreciate y'all
podcast
for tuning in.
with my guy Flacco here. Kelvin's back there, Big Tyler on the sounds. Listen to us, follow, like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit that we never say for you to do. We're gonna start bugging you guys about that now. And I'm off to see the
Organic
Lakers
growth.
hopefully change things around and win game 1 against the Nuggets. Get me the fuck out of here.
Let's go.